Now, personal protective equipment, or PPE, has become a very hot commodity with the pandemic spreading around the world, and it's led to a boom for manufacturers of PPE in China. They supply most of the nations in the world even before the pandemic took hold. Our correspondent Lynette Lim hit the ground in Yiwu. This is a key manufacturing center in the eastern region of China to find out how the world's workshops are coping with this increased demand and scrutiny.
These KN95 masks cost 8.5 yuan, or just over $1 when bought directly from the factory. But by the time it leaves the factory, middlemen are selling it at 13 yuan, or close to $2 a piece. This price gouging has not gone unnoticed, and in response, the Chinese government recently made it mandatory for licensed manufacturers to sell medical supplies direct instead of selling it to middlemen. An e-commerce firm, Bulky, which helps match manufacturers to bulk buyers outside China, applauds the move.
A lot of people think that these manufacturers are making a ton of money, but that's not the case. These factory workers, they haven't had a day off in like 5 months, and yet they're not making money because it's going to these middlemen.
The move came after U.S. officials accused China of hoarding PPE and selling it at high rates, an accusation China has slammed as groundless, even as it appeared to be holding back masks produced in the country in the earlier stages of the pandemic. But with the Chinese outbreak largely contained, export restrictions eased. And on April 23, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying tweeted that China has provided more than 2.4 billion masks to the US and nearly 5,000 ventilators and many other medical devices. As the world swoops in on China for personal protective equipment, it's boom time for some manufacturers who say that production capacity and revenue have increased 4 times from a year ago. This licensed maker of medical supplies says masks used to make up 10% of its total production. Now it accounts for more than half, with its company churning out 2 million KN95 masks a day.
原先我们是一直给国家，我们当地的政府供我们的口罩啊、防疫用品啊，然后后来这个疫情，这个世界上的这个疫情又开始蔓延之后呢，就是我们现在又致力给全世界来做这个防疫用品的服务，所以说，那么随着需求的增加，我们的生产量也在不断的这个慢慢的加大。
As firms like Mr. Jin's has been making up for lost time by ramping up production, unlicensed factories and unscrupulous middlemen have also sprung up.
As long as middlemen are involved, you run the risk of fake products, you run the risk of price gouging. And you know, there's only 1,700 approved manufacturers, but 9,000 factories were open between January and February of this year. So for a lot of foreign countries, it's really difficult for them. Well, they can't come to China right now, so they have no feet on the ground.
With many countries still struggling to provide enough PPE for their citizens, the international community is still relying on China's exports, despite concerns over the quality of its products. And with that, the boom times in this city look set to continue for the foreseeable future. Lynette Lim, CNA, Yiwu.